Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, how we're going to fix everything together, and welcome to the party because the media has been deployed. It turns out that when you take all the billions of dollars from gun control seed organizations across the nation, they get real cranky about it. Now, this is a follow-up to a story we showed you last week when the DOJ was cutting funding to all these gun control pet projects. Well, now the media has been deployed to show you how mean and evil the DOJ is at the request of the gun controllers. And the things that I'm about to show you, for some reason, didn't make it in the expose that they're doing on CBS. Now, everything will be linked in the description box below. Of course, if you care about freedom, you want to put these rights to the next generation, you leave the country better than we found it, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, because I'm not just going to tell you what to be angry about. We're also going to provide solutions and kick the gun controllers in the face while we do it. All right, let's get into this, people. We have got to talk about something right here. Now, we're going to fly right over to my X profile, at Braden LOA. We are grinding towards 20,000 followers, and every one of you helps tremendously because this is where we have the conversation and we spread information much more quickly than YouTube. And quite honestly, I do it pretty fast on YouTube. So let's dive into that right over there at Braden LOA and the article in question. This is a post from Giffords.org. Now, nonprofit organizations that deploy homegrown peacemakers to prevent violence are being forced to shutter their services immediately following DOJ cuts to their funding. This reckless move is already having devastating impacts. Look at Pamela Bondi. Look how evil she is. She's causing all these negative impacts for the gun control pet projects and little favorite new toys that are well funded by the federal government. Yeah, there's only a few problems with that. I'm going to show you every single one of them after a quick word from my sponsor named Aura. Aura is here to help you guys out with something that you need to know about. So check this out, and then I'm going to show you what they're doing on the other end. Today, I want to talk to you through our sponsor, Aura. Now, this is an identity theft solution, and I want to tell you an example that happened to me personally and my wife. Now, she bought gas like every one of us does on a daily basis and used her credit card. That number was skimmed and stolen, and we would not have known that some criminal shyster on the internet was using our individual number and money to buy incremental purchases at random places across the United States very subtly and sneakily. And that's where Aura comes in. There's a link in the description box below to get your free 2-week trial, but let me show you some of the benefits they're offering. They offer data broker opt-out. It will help remove your personal information from data brokers, and Aura will make sure that they cannot sell your information to identity thieves. It's got identity theft protection and monitors your credit file and your social security number. There's financial fraud protection. You can get alerted in minutes when your credit file has been compromised. I'm not leaving my family and those that I love vulnerable to these types of thieves, so neither do you. Go to aura.com/Langley. There's a link in the description box below and start your free 2-week trial to get in front of these shysters, and that's enough time to figure out if there's something going on with your profile. Link right in the description. All right, beautiful people. Thank you so much for watching that, supporting Aura, because that supports the channel, particularly when they're doing that whole unsubscribe thing. But let's keep going. So, back to Pamela Bondi being evil and mad and bad image of her. Crime victim group stripped of federal grants awarded by awards by Trump administration. Now, as you can see, this is a biased source from Giffords.org, so they got the media to do some work for them. I'm going to show you something in a second. Here's the headline. Crime victims group stripped of federal grant awards by Trump administration. As you can see, this came out and was released on April 24th, and the post from Giffords was on April 28th, yesterday. So, before I dive into the highlighted portions here, I'm going to show you something that Giffords.org, interestingly enough, didn't show you. Yeah, you ever heard of this thing? It's called Operation Ceasefire in the Safe Community Partnership. Now, this is on the Attorney's Office for the United States in Northern District of California. They don't tell you this stuff, but let me show you why I fight gun control so ardently, other than the fact that it's a, part of our Bill of Rights and our rights as, humans, Americans, and citizens. Other than those whole things and, basic, whatever, we get the idea. I'm going to fight it all day, every day, because the big thing that they're lying about is right here. Look at this. Over the past 15 years, numerous cities across the country have successfully reduced relatively high rates of gang and youth gun violence through a strategy that brings together and assigns specific roles to criminal justice agencies, organizations that provide employment training and placement, social service agencies, community and faith leaders, and gang outreach programs. Operation Ceasefire was instituted in Boston, Chicago, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, and these cities achieved reductions in gun homicide of 25 to over 60%. 60%. You still going to tell me you need gun control? You still going to push for gun control? No, you probably shouldn't, because the guns are not the problem. It's very obvious that when you partner law enforcement with faith organizations and a community is built around not endorsing this type of behavior, you immediately have massive reductions. But no gun control was instituted. I find that a little odd, particularly since it's been duplicated in multiple cities across the nation with different varying of degrees of gun control. So gun control is not the magic bullet. The magic bullet is actually communities getting involved and actually doing what they need to do, like arresting gangbangers and then actually getting people involved in the organization, like children not being ignored and underfunded education, things of that nature. But when you look at this, you do ask the question, why do you need to be a proponent of gun control when the answer is right here and no guns are taken? You preserve the rights of the people, and then you also solve the problem. But that would mean you don't need them anymore. Yep. Let's keep going. Go back over to CBS, because this is the whole point. Guys, we can solve any type of violence issue that we have by addressing the people, not the actual rights, so we can respect the rights and take care of the people. It's not difficult, but these people have a vested interest in gun control. That's why they only focus on gun control, not the thing that they know has worked for 15 years. Let's keep going. Get back to the article from CBS. A number of nonprofit safety and victims organizations tell CBS News they are being stripped of federal grant funding by the Department of Justice. One of the organizations, the National Center for Victims of Crime, said it will have to shutter its hotline service for crime victims as early as Friday due to the funding reduction. Here's the thing. I am all for solving any type of criminal problem in a society. 100%. In fact, most of these things are local problems. So they require a local solution. They don't require slush funds going to all these gun control groups from national coffers, which is your tax dollars, going to a national call center. You don't need a national call center. Arrest the criminals and build people up. It's not difficult. But again, that undermines the point of their need. You need to have a problem, so they provide the solution. That's the entire point, which is why we fight it every single day. This type of funding for national things, it ain't it. Let's keep going. Let me X that out because that's annoying. The memo sent by the DOJ alerts the groups that their federal grant awards are being terminated because the funding no longer effectuates the program goals or agency priorities. Shorthand, the DOJ under Pam Bondi at the request of the Trump administration is cutting the funding to all the gun control slush funds. That's the entire point here. Because when you have something that you already know works, which is right here, which is led at a state level, you don't need federal level funding into these programs, because what ends up happening is it's used for gun control and to propagate gun control propaganda. That's where the problem lies. But they're trying to sell you on this idea that all these things are absolutely needed and gun control is the solution, when the solution is right there. They're just not showing you. The word ceasefire does not exist in this article at all, nor has it ever in any other organizations we've covered, because they don't want to provide the solution to make themselves antiquated. All right. In an internal memo obtained by CBS News, the organization's leader wrote, quote, "We are not the only organization impacted. Funding cuts and cancellations were also announced to approximately 55 other violence prevention, victim advocacy, and substance abuse programs nationwide. Another impacted organization is the Youth Alive nonprofit in Oakland, California, which has helped young people who have suffered from violent crime. The organization, founded in 1991, touts its work supporting gunshot victims, including at hospital bedsides." Again, these types of things are not what the federal taxpayer needs to be paying for, because they get circumvented into the gun control movement. Everytown for Gun Safety and Givers.org particularly. Former Department of Justice Civil Rights Division official Stacey Young told CBS News, "This administration can't claim to care about things like supporting crime victims, curbing gun violence, and reducing opioid deaths while slashing grants to entities that do the hard work to achieve these goals." Again, all of this is a money grab. That's the entire point. You're not hearing them talk about anything about the prior solutions that they already know, like the ceasefire stuff I just showed you. It's all about, you're taking my money away and I don't like it. Because we have a glut of money funding that was coming in from the Biden administration across groups nationally. It was literally a money grab that goes against all the guns. That's the whole point. The National Center for Victims of Crime said the reduction in federal funding is potentially debilitating to its mission. Quote, "We're shocked that an administration that claims to care about protecting victims would leave so many vulnerable Americans without access to an essential lifeline. said one of the CEOs. Williams told CBS News the funding reduction could force the shuttering of a crime victims hotline by Friday, April 25th, so it's already gone. Williams said the hotline has been used 16,000 times by criminal survivors last year. After calling us, countless victims indicated they had nowhere else to turn but found hope, help, and comfort for our services, she said. The termination of this federal grant has had an immediate impact. Guys, the point is they built all of these things off of federal taxpayer dollars, and there was no ecosystem or infrastructure of support at a state level or donation level. It was all funded by the taxpayers, you, for gun control support. This is not all about hotlines and all these things. It's about services that literally tell people guns are the problem, reduce guns in your population. That's the entire point. They're framing this from a standpoint of, look how bad the Trump administration is, but all this money was going to support gun control through multiple shell companies and organizations. That was the entire point. Again, they've had the solution the whole time. Let's keep going. Here we go. The Justice Department also canceled a grant through which the National Center for Victims of Crime is building peer support group programs for crime victims at 10 sites across the country, as well as a grant through which our team creates educational content for National Crime Victims' Rights Week. That's the stuff. They're creating educational content where they talk about all the different pieces of gun control. That's the whole point. It's a big shell game. Let's wrap this up. The Department of Justice has started cutting millions of dollars in wasteful grants, her post said. This is AG Bondi. She listed 3 examples. $2 million for national listening sessions of individuals with lived experience. $695,000 for a parallel convergent mixed methods case study research designed to assess the efficacy of police departments' LGBTQ liaison services, and $250,000 for working with incarcerated transgender individuals providing gender-affirming care to including housing in gender-appropriate facilities. Do you see what this is? Guys, the whole game here is all the ways that they can create NGOs or non-governmental organizations to get our tax dollars. That's the entire point. The memo distributed to some victims' organizations specifies that any further expenses will not be reimbursed by the Justice Department or federal agencies after the memo. The use of award funds will not be allowed for obligations incurred or expenditures made after receipt of this notice other than pursuant to closeout responsibilities. The point is, guys, they are going down this road of losing all of the funding and money into all the numerous NGOs that they created to get all of this money. Meanwhile, they've known how to solve the problem by 25 to 60% locally for decades at this point. This is now about something broader than solving the problem, which is why I bang this drum all the freaking time. But that's what I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you think in the comments below if I landed this plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.